Hi, I'm Nancy Ibarra. I'm from Chicago, 7th grade science. So I was in the engineering of global health with Mark Saltzman. The name of my unit is HeLa Cells, Cervical Cancer, and the HPV Vaccine. Now, you have to understand that I have 7th grade, so this is kind of a tough topic for them. So we start with a lot of background knowledge. Here are the standards. I'm not going to go through all of them, but it does address the NGSS, the National Sexuality Education Standards, and the IB Global Context. I begin with this book, The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks. It's, I tell the students, imagine that there's this woman during the time of segregation, Jim Crow era, and she's an African-American woman, and she dies of cervical cancer in the early 1950s. Yet her cells are still alive today, and what they have done for science has been amazing. So that's such a hook for them because they have so many questions. They really do, 7th grade. And this is where we begin. So throughout the whole unit, and it's a 10-week unit, it's very long, there's a lot of background knowledge, like I said. So I read excerpts from the book, to introduce topics that we're gonna cover. So we do start with eukaryotic and prokaryotic cells. Here they're doing some review work. That's their science notebook in the bottom, and we went out there and did that right before a test. The weather was still nice in Chicago. Then we go on and just concentrate on eukaryotic cells. Here they compare cells as factories. This is a mural by Diego Rivera. So we introduce how factories kind of have different parts that come together and work together, just like the cell parts. So we go into cell parts and functions after that. Again, here, there. So here they actually built a Kahoot game themselves with questions about cell parts and functions, and then they play it together with their peers, kind of quizzing each other. So here's one of the questions: what can't see, but what's a jelly-like fluid in the cell? It's a cytoplasm or cytosol. So that was 4 kids working, well, five kids working together. The one that made the game, and then the other. So you could see one of them didn't get it right. Then we go into the cell membrane. We actually spend a lot of time on the cell membrane because it's important. So we go over that. We do 2 labs. One of them is comparing an egg. We deshell the egg by placing it in vinegar. And then we go through osmosis and how liquids come in and out of the egg using different liquids. So here they're weighing the egg to see if it's gotten bigger or smaller. Here's some of their data. So that's their lab findings after the egg osmosis lab. And this, they're comparing the egg to a cell. Here they are, again, the cell membrane demonstrating that it's semi-permeable and that some things are coming in and some things aren't. And this all is leading to, believe it or not, viruses and vaccines. So here they're doing this lab. Then we go into mitosis. So mitosis, since we are going to cover cervical cancer, is, when cancer develops, it is a mistake. Like Kwame was saying, something goes wrong in cell reproduction. So during mitosis, they realize that something, our cells are pretty miraculous. So when something goes wrong, that's when bad things happen. So we go through the phases. They're actually in the process right now of doing a voiceover. So they've done the recording, and they're doing the voiceover. It's so it's interphase, prophase, metaphase, anaphase, and then cytokinesis when the 2 cells separate. And then finally, so the lesson here was that the virus had to be the antagonist, and they had to come up with who's going to save the day, and that kind of just gets me thinking, like, how much do they know? Like, do they know? And they did. They some of them use the immune system as what saves the day. Some of them use T cells or B cells, and Mark would be very proud of this, Mark Saltzman. So I left this as the lesson that they're finishing. And right now, as I'm here, that's what they're doing. So this student finished early, and I brought hers. And then finally, I wanted to add this one to Mark. So Mark and I had a lot of conversations about vaccines and the inequality in global health and how the disparity of not everybody has the vaccines that we're lucky to have here. And so there's a vaccine coming, and I'm coming. What did this child write? I'm coming to help, and that's like viruses are attacking the earth or a cell. So that's all. Thank you.